The mega cabinet rejig that looks like it's on the cards for the Modi government's second term. Now, according to sources, a revamp is expected in the health, education and agriculture ministries. Now, remember, this comes at a time when the centre has been at the receiving end of a lot of criticism for its handling of the second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. While the hectic parleys are underway at the national capital, fresh faces could be inducted into the cabinet. Let me go across to our managing editor Vinay Tiwari to get in a little more perspective on this. Vinay, what is the perspective here, the reasons for this time of a possible cabinet reshuffle?
Let me begin by a caveat, Avni, that we must always have whenever it's a question of Mr. Modi taking a decision on the likely ministries or portfolios, because very honestly, it's only him and his very close confidant, possibly Mr. Amit Shah, who would possibly know exactly what it is. So most of what we are going to say is based on, some bit of chatter that has been picked up. But there are three very clear reasons why a cabinet reshuffle is definitely likely to happen. Number one, the government's image in terms of the efficiency of the performance over the last 3 months has taken a bit of a knock. There has been widespread criticism over the way the second COVID pandemic wave was handled, and that has necessitated a bit of a refurbishing the image and even the faces of the government, especially in certain key ministries. That is part one. Part two, there has been feedback from the RSS cadre as well as some of the ground workers of the BJP that all is not well in terms of, again, the perception of the government's efficiency and performance post the second wave pandemic. And the third, of course, is the very important and crucial elections that are likely to come, are scheduled to happen in the early part of 2022 in Uttar Pradesh, and that makes it necessary for the government to relook at inducting certain key people from the state of UP. Now, having said that, any cabinet reshuffle need a big question mark is on the top four portfolios that any ministry has, and the big four, as they're called, are really the defense, home, finance and foreign affairs. And in all these four ministries, there is virtually very little chance of any kind of a reshuffle. I mean, you really cannot, there is no way that the home ministry is going to be altered or the foreign ministry. Neither is, the finance ministry likely to be changed, even though there have been some speculations on that as well, but that's unlikely to happen as well. But the three ministries where there is some concern and basis the feedback from the workers as well as the RSS is one, the health ministry. Even though I must say that in the second wave and as much as in the first wave, the issues related to health were not just being handled by the health ministry, but by the entire cabinet and possibly the PMO itself. But definitely the health ministry is one ministry which has come under question. The agriculture ministry has had the difficult task of actually handling the farmers' agitation and the government outreach in trying to explain and convince the farmers on the efficacy of the three bills that have been passed by the parliament. And of course, the education ministry, which has also been questioned. Remember, the minister itself may not have been questioned in terms of performance, but he's been not in good health recently. He's been in a hospital for a while, and he's recovering now. And that may have possibly, impacted some bit of the decision-making of the speed or efficiency. So there is a possibility of these three ministries coming under question. I mean, what we can confirm, Avni, is that there are a round of consultations that will begin from today or possibly tomorrow between the Prime Minister and his members of the cabinet, and a kind of a report card will be presented by the ministers to the government on what they've done so far and the kind of roadmap that they see ahead in the next couple of years or so. And that consultation that is going to happen over the next couple of days or so will form the basis of the final decision that will be taken by the Prime Minister.
All right, Vinay, thank you so much for joining us with all of that perspective. It will, of course, be interesting to watch and see how this, if at all, the rejig does indeed happen.